Hello and welcome to Southeastern 16. It is our first in-season basketball power rankings of the season. I'm Chris Lee, joined by Blake Lovell and Max Barr. We are here despite the best efforts of Google Chrome to keep us out. But let's
Not
get
us.
to the good news.
Just one of
Not
us.
you.
Not the
Just
whole
one
group.
of us. All right, let's get to it. Number 16, we always start at the bottom. The South Carolina Gamecocks, who suffered a loss to North Florida, which dragged them down in the power rankings. Father Lamont Paris can play the disrespect card right off the bat, guys.
Well, I mean, they lost to North Florida, who did beat Georgia Tech. And I just want to note, remember, as always, guys, these are composite ranking. So each of our individual staff members rank these teams. And for what it's worth, multiple staff members did not have South Carolina at 16. However, because a certain staff member ranked another team a bit higher than everyone else, that moved them up in the rankings. So I don't think this is fair for Father Lamont Paris, but he's got us exactly where he wants us here coming into the season. First set of power rankings, and look where we are. Just like we did last year, first set of rankings, where do we have South Carolina? We had them at the bottom. I don't agree with it. I know they lost to North Florida, but we'll see where they go from here.
Well, the reason that we don't agree with it is because at 15, we have Vanderbilt.
Commodores.
Well, let's throw it
Chris
to the
Lee?
high man on 15, the guy
Chris
who ranked
Lee?
him in the top 5. Go ahead.
Well, you have a double machine in Devin McLaughlin. Now, they can't defend a lick, which I'm surprised, Blake, you didn't rank them like 5th for that.
Wow.
Because they
Yeah,
shoot
you ranked
threes
them
like
higher than I
crazy
did.
and they can't
So,
defend. Offense is
wow.
part of the game, buddy. Offense is part of the game.
Wow. Mark Pope has really gotten into you, hasn't he? So,
He has.
Wow. My goodness. All right. Offense is part of the game. Put that in the my goodness. That's like a masterpiece right there. Put that on your board. All right. Vanderbilt, 15.
Number 14, Cam Carter and LSU. A couple easy ones off the bat. Ken Pom really likes these guys for whatever it's worth. I think he's got them, at 49? I don't know how much stock we put in Ken Pom 2 games in against a lot of opponents that are not going to be what you're going to be seeing from January on. But nonetheless, Ken Pom's got him at 48 today. We miss anything here on LSU, guys?
No, I'm sorry. Like, who cares what Ken Pom has about it? I have nothing against Ken Pom. We use him all the time here, but we're 2 games into the season. They've played Louisiana Monroe and Alabama State. So, although people are telling us that we are missing the boat on LSU, which I think they were trailing by 6 points at halftime against Alabama State. We're not knocking LSU. It's just we don't know what to make of them just yet. At least I don't. If anyone else wants to weigh in with their thoughts, they can, but I mean, maybe we are missing the boat on them, but we just haven't. I mean, do we move them to the top 10 just based off of that so far? I don't know. These are our early season rankings like this. We always say like we need to see teams play more meaningful opponents to get a better gauge of what they are. And guess what? LSU next week in our power rankings, there will be movement with them. I guarantee you, because they're at Kansas State on Thursday. That's their one game this week. LSU goes in and wins that game. We were wrong about the Tigers. Crown them if they win that game. But I'm taking a wait-and-see approach to see what happens in that one before we jump all in on LSU. At least that's just my opinion. So,
Yeah, and you have Cam Carter, who's a 32% career three-point shooter right now, shooting 62% through 2 games from 3. So I think that's going to come back down to earth a little bit. But, yeah, same with you, Blake. Wait-and-see mode. Kansas State on Thursday.
Yeah, Cam Carter, 3rd in the league in scoring as we do this. All right, our number 13 team, one that I don't know much of what to do with. I think you guys are probably in the same boat. It's the Oklahoma Sooners. Jaylin Moore, the SEC's second leading scorer with 1 game played so far.
Yeah, only 1 game, and it was against a terrible opponent in Lindenwood. Sorry, Lindenwood, but not the best season there. But the rotation did look nice for the first half. I like the seniors. You go senior, and Jeremiah Fears looked good. Jaylin Moore is going to be one of the better 4-man in this league. Just curious to what the team looks like against a prominent front court with Godwin and Wagi. Curious to how that'll shake out, but can't take much away. Yeah, they only played one game, and it was on Monday.
Yeah, I just quickly on LSU. You're not going to find out what they're going to look like, or not LSU, Oklahoma. You're not going to find out what they look like for a while because they should win by 25 plus in each of their next 3 games. Providence, Georgia Tech, Oklahoma State are all. I mean, those aren't just high profile, power conference type opponents. Michigan's on there December 18th, and that's it for their non-conference schedule. Of course, I think you've got tournament/classics in there maybe somewhere, but again, it's hard for us to track those right now. But so we'll see what happens with the Sooners.
Number 12, we've got the Georgia Bulldogs. A couple of new faces leading the way. Dakota LaFew, the transfer, been lighting up the scoreboard, and Asa Newell inside, going to be probably top 3 freshman in the league so far, at least. A little bit intrigued by these guys.
Yeah, they didn't look great on Monday against Tennessee Tech, but rebounded against Texas Southern. Interesting development kind of with Justin Abeson. I thought he was really going to be a force down low. Rim protection. He's kind of been taking the back burner to Newell and Samto Cyril. So a little bit curious about how that front court shakes out. But the shooting has not looked good other than Dakota LaFew. LaFew's been a nice development, but still worried about this shooting, Blake.
I guess who Georgia plays on Tuesday, guys? North Florida. North Florida, baby.
Oh, no.
Matthew Driscoll bringing the Ospreys to Athens. And then don't forget, Georgia has Marquette and St. John's coming up in about a week and a half, back-to-back days. So, we'll learn a lot about the Dogs then.
I know we don't put too much into KenPom right now, but North Florida started the season as 253rd, and right now they're 139. They're skyrocketing up the analytics. So,
Number 11, Blake. Your client, Dennis Gates, snapped a losing streak. Surely that triggered a bonus in the contract that you've negotiated for him, right?
Well, no surprise that the high man on Missouri this week was me. I did rank him one spot higher than you guys did in your individual rankings, so that pushed them up here. I think this was where we had him before the season. But, I'll say this. Yes, the streak was snapped. It wasn't the prettiest against Howard, but I still said I think you saw some things in the Memphis game where that's a game they should have won. Yes, they didn't, but the talent's there. The potential is there, I think. The young guys are really standing out for Missouri, and I think we thought this would be such a loaded roster. They didn't know exactly what the playing time would look like, and I still don't think we know. But the big issue is that they can't shoot, and that was our fear coming into the season. I think that's going to be what holds them back, maybe from a bit of a high ceiling. Even if we drew up the best case scenario, I just wonder if the shooting is going to get them close to that. And we'll see how it plays out. They're another team that they should reel off some wins here, and maybe that's a good thing, even against inferior opponents, because they just need to find some confidence and some momentum as a program. And so, hey, the streak is over, and now it's time to go out and just start winning some games, right? So, yeah, I mean, this feels about right for Missouri. Until they can figure out the shooting and, the defending, especially the three-point line right now is not kind to this team. 330th in three-point percentage offensively, 337th in three-point field goal percentage defense, 46.2%. So, bit of an issue right now on the perimeter.
We thought we were going to get Jacob Cruz and Peyton Marshall from the get-go, having huge impacts on this team. We had Jacob Cruz in our predicted starting lineup and just hasn't been there. And same with, Boateng the last game, but not against Memphis. So a little bit confusing on the rotations to start, but there's so many different pieces and guys that do different things that I feel like it's going to take a few more games. Like you said, Blake, this little stretch here, maybe 3-4 weeks of a stretch here to kind of figure things out.
Number 10, the Ole Miss Rebels, who I don't really know what to take away so far. Blowout in the opener and just survived Dante Jackson and Grambling, who've been known to put a scare or two into some teams. Very deep team, going to be a very defensive-oriented team, you would hope, if it goes according to plan for Chris Beard. But Ole Miss 2-0, and I don't know that our opinion on them has changed a whole lot either way since the season has started.
Grambling's not bad. Grambling is not a bad team. I went back and rewatched the highlights of that game also. Grambling is not bad at all. They got some size, got some shooting, and they're flying up the analytics also. The thing with Ole Miss that is just still the question is that front court, kind of the defensive rebounding, the rim protection. That was the big thing that we knocked them on last year all season, and hasn't really been answered for me yet. But, man, it's a fun team. It's a fun team with a lot of different shooters, a lot of spacing. Very fun offensive team to watch with Juju and Padula both on the court at the same time.
Most experienced team in the country, per Ken Palm. So, surprised Chris didn't rank them higher.
Well, that brings me to the perfect spot. Max's new team, the Mississippi State Bulldogs at number 9. I'm just going to turn the floor over to Max Barr for this one.
Before we do that, 1 second, because our friends at BetOnline probably want to talk about some odds, and we may want to do that. The world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting, earliest in-game live betting. BetOnline provides you all the action, ability to watch the games as they happen. Largest selection odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA, Mark Pope, 3-point shots made. They got it all there. Head to BetOnline today to get on the action. America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline. Game starts here.
Chris, there's going to be some Mississippi State fans that are wondering why you said new team. This was my Final Four team last year. I'm just slowly, they're starting to bring me back. Hey, they looked fantastic. And the guards, I said this was going to be an awesome team to watch. Super fun. Claudel Harris has been better than I thought he was going to be. But the reason that I don't have them up higher, because there's still some concerns. They gave up 10 offensive rebounds to West Georgia, and they gave up 18 offensive rebounds to Georgia State. Kind of got crushed on the offensive boards. And they didn't play any, Georgia State and West Georgia do not have that good of a front court. So still got some questions to be answered in that front court. I think they're going to get tested here in a few weeks. But so far, so good.
Rank them. Top 25 team in the SEC here. Number 9 in our power rankings. What do we know?
Well, number 8, I'll tell you what we know about Texas. They have got a freshman in Trey Johnson who is setting the basketball world on fire. Texas 1-1 to show for it. But I don't think you're any less bullish on Texas now that we've seen what Trey Johnson can do.
Well, I mean, not Trey Johnson, sure, but I think without Tremont Mark, I think there are going to be limitations with this team. Luckily, their next two opponents are Chicago State and Mississippi Valley State. And so, indefinitely was the word used on Mark, so we just don't know when he's going to play, I guess. But, we talked about their non-conference schedule quite a bit. They've got some interesting games in there, the back-to-backs at NC State, home against UConn, but they should win a lot of other games otherwise. So, I said coming out of the Ohio State game, I think I was probably even more optimistic about Texas just because once they do get Mark on the floor, Trey Johnson is just a stud. And so I think they're going to be fine. But, I think where you rank them right now really is just dependent on what is your criteria, because without Tremont Mark, I think there's definitely a bit more of a ceiling long-term, but you assume they get him back at some point soon, but again, I have no idea, and definitely was the wording used there. So,
yeah, I don't know how much you can put into it without him so far. 7 of 28 from 3, 25% against Ohio State is not the best. And this was around where we had him in the preseason, right around middle of the pack here. And my opinion hasn't really changed on him much. Bounced back with a crushing of Houston Christian, as expected. Thought Jordan Pope would have a little bit more of a role here. It's kind of been more of Julian Larry, but still not going to take much of a conclusion away from anything.
All right, Tremont Mark's former team, the Arkansas Razorbacks, are our number 7. worst fears so far were that Arkansas could not shoot the three very well. That has been an issue, but they have got athletes and talent all over the place. Very interested to see where the season goes for them. Obviously, I think better things ahead if it all comes together.
Yeah, I mean, we did the reaction, whatever. It all runs together. I don't even know what day that was.
I know.
But I'm not overreacting as much as some people are to Arkansas losing that game. Could they shoot? No, of course they couldn't. Has Cal got to figure out some coaching tweaks? Yes, he does. And I think Kentucky fans and maybe some Arkansas fans will tell you that's their biggest concern, perhaps, is Cal evolving and actually offensively doing some things that they've got to do better, because that's been the knock on him for a while now. And so when they start seeing zone every single game, because at this point, why would you not play a zone against Arkansas? They got to figure out a better way to attack it. And so still, though, the talent's there, as Chris said. I think you can be optimistic in that. I do think they will shoot the ball better. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be considerably better, but I think they're going to shoot it better than 23%. And Jonas Aidoo has not clearly been at full strength yet. And I think that will be a big change in terms of what he can bring defensively and offensively. And I think Johnell Davis will play better. And so add all those things together, you've got a breakout player in Aidoo Thero. You've got Boogie Fland doing his thing. I think this team is going, and the freshmen are getting adjusted too. The other ones, Billy Richmond, Carter Knox. Arkansas is going to get better. But again, Max, work in progress. We said that from the start. I'm not overreacting just yet, but Cal's got to pull out some things that, quite frankly, people maybe are not confident he's going to be able to pull out here just based on recent history.
Yeah, it's the recent history that makes you, get a little bit worried. But it's a team that shooting is not their strength, with two of their starters injured right now with Davis and Aidoo. So, yeah, there are some concerns about the shooting. I don't think that's going to get fixed just by those two guys healing up a little bit. So that's why, they're down here at 7 rather than where we had them in the preseason. But they just lost by 5 to Baylor and shot horribly. So it's not like they got ran out of the building.
Speaking of teams where we have concerns with shooting, number 6, Texas A&M, which made a little bit of a pivot in the game with what East Texas A&M, I think, is what Texas A&M Commerce just got renamed to. Went from 26 three-pointers down to 15 in that game. I think maybe that's something to watch going forward. If the shot selection and approach offensively are a little different, I think that might play better to what this team's strengths are.
Zerk Phelps, difference maker. I sent Blake a highlight of him. This guy's dribbling in and out, looking like a stud. He's going to be a difference maker for him. What did he have? 18 points in 18 minutes. That is efficient right there. But they had a chance. They should have won that UCF game. They should have won. They were up by 11 with 6 minutes left and just melted down the stretch. I feel like if you have Phelps on the floor there, the ball handling may be a little bit cleaner. But, right here at middle of the pack at 6. Not bad.
U2's rankings, a little suspect in my opinion. The Aggies ahead of the Hogs here, but that's okay. I'll take it. It's fine. The Aggies are pretty good. They'll be better. Phelps, Max is sending me 5 texts a minute about Zerk Phelps. So maybe that's the difference here in this one.
All right, number 5, the Florida Gators, who've had either the first or second most chaotic weekend, depending on how you judge chaos in the SEC. We got Florida rebounding. Well, they had a pretty good first night against South Florida and then blew out Jacksonville. I think things with Florida about like we sized them up in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's legit. I mean, and Todd Golden's going to coach on Monday. He's already, or somebody released a statement on that or some kind of report out there. He's going to coach. So we talked about this thing in the reaction Max and I did on Friday or whatever day it was. And so that situation kind of, is there right now. And again, we'll see how things play out. But yeah, I mean, if you're just talking about the on-court stuff, I mean, Florida's really good. And, probably the most disappointing thing for Florida so far is they've not shot it well, but I think they'll be fine too. I mean, it's kind of the theme here, right? Like, if every SEC team doesn't shoot it well, then, everybody can be okay. So, but unfortunately, there are some SEC teams that are shooting it pretty well. So that's something just to monitor early. But again, that doesn't really surprise me. I think Florida's really good, and I think they've, their guard play is fantastic. We see what, kind of the sophomore group is doing in the front court. And so, I think there's plenty of upside with the Gators.
I love how the rotation's just like almost finalized already. You got your set 8-man rotation. It's kind of like with Auburn, how they obviously had the shortened rotation against Houston, but it worked out because it's like, no, you have your set guys. This is who's playing, and you need them because those are your guys you got available. Florida's got 8 guys, and they're playing those 8 guys. And they're looking good. Condon, Sam Alexis, Tommy Houck. Come on. Like the Gators.
All right, we just run through a series of teams that are having shooting troubles. You know who's not going to have shooting troubles, Blake Lovell?
There we go.
Yeah, I do, Chris. And let's go ahead and pull it up on the screen here. So as everyone can see, Kentucky's at 4. And you guys will never believe who the high man was on Kentucky this week in our rankings. It was me. You two bums did not have Kentucky where I had them this week.
Known.
I moved Kentucky all the way up to number 3 this week. You two did not do that. So, for all the you-know-what, I'm not going to get us banned on YouTube here, that you two guys give me about Kentucky, acting like I am anti-Kentucky around here, I ranked them higher than you guys did this week. I'm all in on Mark Pope and company, getting ready for this big showdown against the Duke Blue Devils, the nemesis, the square. Oh, this is going to be good. We got a prediction video coming to Kentucky fans on that one. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But yes, the Cats have looked the part so far. They're playing offense. They're playing defense. Specifically, they're doing everything. Lamont Butler doing his thing. Otega Owe, as they said, Max, in our reaction show the other night, 2 of the best in the country in terms of defensive guards. And yeah, they're fantastic. The shooting's been fantastic. The ball movement's been fantastic. These guys are really good right now. And people can say, well, they played Wright State and Bucknell. I don't care. Watch the games. If you watch the games, you see that this is a true basketball team. Like, they're playing basketball. They love their basketball. There's a song, I think, that went something like that. So there you go. I got the Cats ranked higher than you two this week. So you never heard the song, Chris? Come on.
Well, would you like to sing it?
I thought about it, but I didn't.
We can save that for another video.
They're playing basketball. They love that basketball.
Oh, that one.
They're playing basketball.
Yes.
I don't even know. I don't think there's a lot more lyrics to it.
I think that's about all there is to it. Yeah.
AI can pull it in the comments. There you go.
Chris, this is your team here.
Yes, and you know what I like? Kirk Reese leading the league in assists. They got guys all over the place that can have roles. They got a big man. I just you watch them play, man. You watch the energy come out of the press conferences. Blake Lovell.
Watch them play.
There's a lot to like here.
Rewind to June when Blake and I were doing the SEC Basketball Experience weekly episodes. Somebody had a prediction that Kirk Kriisa would lead the SEC in assists. I don't know who it was, but somebody had that prediction. Man, they're pretty smart.
Well, second in the league in assists is the man who leads this next team. And I know our man Blake Lovell thinks defense doesn't matter, but boy, it mattered in Louisville Saturday, didn't it, Max?
The reason that I had Tennessee at 3 and Kentucky at 4 is not because I think there's a big difference between the teams. It's just Kentucky had the best win, absolutely smacking up Louisville. And I picked Louisville in the prediction. I thought it was tricky. The betting line was screaming something weird's going to happen. There's a lot of energy over there. Pat Kelsey, the revival. Nope. Meshack, Zeegs, Akpara. You're not scoring on them. Come on. Tennessee, number 3. Blake, Tennessee hater.
Yeah, look, and that's why I did it this week. I knew you guys were going to rank yours in this order, and I just wanted to have a talking point about me ranking Kentucky higher than you two. But come on. The Tennessee Vols go into Louisville. They beat the Cardinals, and people are out here talking about Zakai Ziegler's turnovers and all this other stuff. You know what? Come on. This guy, first team all SEC material, in my opinion. An incredible performance from Zakai Ziegler. And we talked a little bit why I think the turnover number for him will be a little bit higher this year, because I think he is kind of just the one guy on this team that can create the way that he can. And I don't know that there's anyone else that can do that to his level. And I think they're going to be a little bit different, offensively this year, as we talked about. But Chaz Lanier also with a very smooth performance, as Max Barr dubbed it, on Saturday. And yeah, I think you see the things with Tennessee that I feel like this was kind of one of those games where you wanted to see early on, does this team, have a significant issue offensively? And I think you saw that they were able to figure some things out and hit big shots. Again, Ziegler shot it well from three. Lanier shot it well. And they're still going to have some of those stretches where they don't play well offensively, probably. And it may be because of turnovers. It may be because they just can't hit shots. But defensively, they are going to lock you down. I mentioned a minute ago, the Butler Oweh versus Ziegler Meshack defensive duo. Good luck scoring on the perimeter, anybody in the Tennessee-Kentucky matchup. But yeah, Okpara, I thought, has come along quicker than maybe we thought he would in this system. He looks good so far. So yeah, great work from the Vols here to go on the road and get a victory. And now they come back to Knoxville on Wednesday for a matchup with the Grizzlies of Montana.
Number 2, Max Barr.
Oh, boy. Look out before you release number 2. Look out.
Man.
The comments are brewing. They're ready to pounce. Number 2 in the rankings this week.
Ooh. The Alabama Crimson Tide. Chris, do you want to set us up here?
We said Arkansas State had the potential to be a little tricky. We weren't sure if we entirely believed it. That's kind of how it played out. And, results matter a little bit here, and I think that's why we had a flip.
Results matter a little bit. There's never been a better endorsement of our rankings. They matter, but just a little bit. There's no bias involved at all in our power rankings. Yeah, look, it's, as we say, and we always joke, we're like, our preseason power rankings really don't mean anything because we haven't seen anything yet. But how drastically our rankings do change once the season actually starts. And you can't ignore what you see, right? You're still going to have some of that preseason, spotlight on certain things, right? To say, again, I'm like, how could you rank anyone but Alabama number 1 in the preseason based on what they have coming back, anything like that? But all it takes is a defining win for another team who was right there beside them to move that team into the number 1 spot, because now we're into actual in-season rankings. So that's how things change. Do I still think Alabama's one of the best teams in the country? Of course I do. Am I overreacting to a 9-point win over Arkansas State? No. But we said this is the gauntlet that begins for Alabama. Not at full strength yet without Chris Youngblood. And, Arkansas State, good team. McNeese tonight, good team. Purdue, Illinois, Houston, keep going on down the line. North Carolina, Creighton. They got a lot of big matchups. Do I think Alabama's going to win all of them? Maybe not. But Alabama still as good as advertised, in my opinion. Hadn't even shot the 3 that well so far. So, yeah, what do we say? Just because Alabama drops. We all know why Alabama dropped a spot. And to me, it has nothing to do with Alabama. So,
yeah, no, and I just got to say, my love for Mo Diabate is going to keep Alabama up in these rankings no matter what happens over this gauntlet, Blake, because this guy is playing out of his mind. He's on the bully ball watch list, skyrocketing up the rankings. This team has front court depth, back court depth, and this is going to help them out in the long run to play without Chris Youngblood right now, because you're getting Darion Reed more minutes. You're getting Philon more minutes. Well, I think Philon would get him no matter what. But you're having guys in the backcourt need to step up without a veteran like Chris Youngblood, who's going to be a massive part of that perimeter play. So, yep, here comes the gauntlet. Going to find some stuff out. Maybe like Nate Oates likes to say, we're going to, get exposed in some areas and get better, all that, but less about Alabama and more about just another team that had pretty good win, pretty all right win in the SEC this weekend.
All right, you talk about a gauntlet. Here's what's coming up. Will Wade and McNeese State tonight. Purdue on the road. Illinois in Legacy Arena. Houston neutral site. Rutgers neutral site. Notre Dame neutral site. North Carolina on the road. Creighton at home. I mean, my goodness, it doesn't get a whole lot tougher than that, guys.
Well,
yeah, here we go.
Doesn't. But there's another team who's already answering the call of their tough non-conference schedule.
Boom.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's the Auburn Fighting Tigers. As Max, I have no doubt, made this change on the visual here because I did not put that, but I have no doubt that Max added Fighting Tigers to.
I didn't put that.
Oh, was it Chris?
Buddy, they leaned into it. Did you see the post-game celebration?
I didn't even know Chris knew how to put anything on the screen here. So that's a big
Learn
development
something
too.
every day. I'm just happy to be
That's
here.
movement up the power rankings. But yeah, we talked about it. Dylan Cardwell, just an outstanding performance in the post game there, and yeah, they're all doing the flying motions afterwards as they should be because they're flying high. They fly high, no lie. You know this. I'm bringing out all the lyrics today, Max. You're laughing over there, but
nice.
The big win over Houston for the Tigers. I mean, we did our reaction video on Sunday morning. My goodness, a lot of you people watched that. We appreciate it. Tahaad Pettiford, the legacy game. Johnell Broome doing his thing. And, yeah, we said it. I mean, for them to shoot 71%, even though, like we mentioned, Francis didn't play a lot, but anytime you shoot 71% from two against a team like Houston, who just does not give you anything easy, you'll take it no matter who's on the floor. A huge win for Auburn. They deserve this spot here, and like we said, they're also going to have a very tough schedule. The Maui Invitational coming up where they could play. We went through it, Max. I think if you're looking at like your best case, give me the toughest opponents you can find in Maui. They start with Iowa State, North Carolina, potentially UConn on the schedule. Michigan State's in there, I think, too. They got the road game at Duke still, Ohio State, Purdue. Incredible non-conference schedules for these top two teams. And Auburn, a big, big win, not just for the Tigers, for the SEC. We've said it. The SEC's dropped some of these big games in recent years. Feel like they've dropped the majority of them in these kind of high-profile non-conference games. But that was the biggest win and best win of any team in the country so far this season. Auburn at number 1 in our rankings this week.
This was big just for the SEC as a whole. As a basketball conference coming into the year, you're kind of in the spotlight. They're preseason analytically projected to be the top conference. To get the primetime win of the first week, I think is just huge for the conference as a whole. And Blake, I think I like that you mentioned Francis. We did kind of bring that up as a caveat, but you still had 31 minutes of JoJo Tugler and 38 minutes of Jawan Roberts. You still shot 71% from two. That's incredible. I rewatched the highlights last night, and there was one play that just for some reason it stuck out to me. It was one of the last few possessions, and Chad Baker-Mazara, very tough defensive possession is Houston, working for everything. I think Mazara just kind of gets to the left post and just kind of gets a little floater with his left hand up, and it drops, flex into the bench. But it was just like, wow, late in the game, after Pettiford has this breakout moment, you have Johnell Broome, probably the best big man in the nation right now, and it was Baker-Mazara who's having a back-to-the-basket tough finish with 2 minutes left against the Houston defense. You can go to Chaney Johnson. You can go to Pettiford. You can have Kelly take a shot. You can have Broome take a shot. It's just so many options that can win one-on-one battles offensively. We haven't even mentioned the defense. Number 1 team right now.
Speaking of number 1, the SEC exits the first week, still number 1 in KenPom by about that much over the Big 12. So there were some losses you wish the league didn't take, but I think that win at Houston really helped solidify at least a little bit the league's number one ranking. Really excited to see things. Still on my end, still caught up watching a lot of football, so I'm behind you guys in terms of what I'm able to see, but following along and looking forward to a tremendous basketball season. We've got you covered on that. We've got you covered on football, even a little bit of off-season baseball stuff. So we are your home for SEC men's basketball, football, and baseball. If you have not hit that subscribe button, please do that. That is free. If you want to know when we are coming with live content or videos, enable your notifications so that you get that, and hit the like button if you don't mind. That helps our analytics. For Max Barr and Blake Lovell, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching Southeastern 16, presented by Bet Online.